Hello students, this is Professor Somonshi from Computer Department. In previous video, we have seen the difference between procedure-oriented programming and object-oriented programming. In today's session, we are going to discuss the basic concepts of object-oriented programming. So, let's start the session. So students, basic concepts means nothing but the basic pillars of object-oriented programming. And the first basic concept of object-oriented programming is nothing but object. Now what is mean by object? So let's take the example of real life. In real life, object is anything which we can see or we can imagine of. Anything which we can see or we can imagine of or we can think of. For example, this pen is example of object. This watch, it is also an object. I am also an object. So everything, this fan, chair, table, these all are nothing but the objects. So our world is full of objects. So what is object? Object is anything which we can see. Or I can think about Ferrari car. I can think about Lamborghini car. So these cars are nothing but the objects. So the world is full of objects. Everything in world is in terms of objects. Now this is the real life example. Now in terms of object oriented programming, objects are the basic runtime entities. So in object oriented programming concept, object is nothing but the basic runtime entity, or we can say the basic element of object oriented programming. Now students, if we are talking about objects, each and every object has some properties. In other words, we can say these as attributes. So each object has some attributes. For example, let's take the example of this pen. This pen is an object. So suppose I write here, this pen is an object. So this pen has different properties or different attributes. For example, this pen has, suppose the example of attributes are, this pen has name, this pen has some color, this pen has some shape, this pen has some weight. So name, color, shape, weight, these are the attributes or these are the properties of my object pen. So each and every object has some attributes. For example, suppose I have one mobile. So mobile is an object. So each mobile has some name, each mobile has some color, it has some shape, it has some size, it has some weight. So each and everything or each and every object has some properties. Now suppose I want to distinguish between two objects, two similar objects. Then how can you distinguish? By using their functions. So as each object has some properties, at the same time each object has some functionalities, or we can say functions. That means each object has some properties, at the same time each object performs some functions. So what is the function of this pen? Writing on the board. So writing is the function of this pen. So now suppose I have duster in my right hand and mobile in my left hand. So how can we distinguish? Because the duster also has some name, mobile has name, duster has some size, mobile has size, duster has some shape, mobile has shape, duster has some color, mobile has some color. Then how can I distinguish between the duster and the mobile? So we can distinguish by their functionalities. The duster is used to clean the board, to rub the board, and mobile is used for calling with someone. Okay, so this is the difference between mobile and the duster. And how we come to know about the differences? By their functionalities. So in real life world, object has some properties and at the same time some functionality. These properties are called as data members. These properties are called as data members, and these functionalities are called as member functions. So in object oriented programming, each object has some data members and at the same time it has some member functions. So data members are nothing but the properties and member functions are nothing but the functionalities. So this is nothing but the object concept in object oriented programming. Now the second basic concept of object oriented programming is nothing but class. Now what is meant by class? So class is a blueprint to create the object. We can write here, class is a blueprint to create objects. That means class will provide some structure for creating the object. So whatever the attributes, whatever the properties, whatever the functionalities that are required from the objects, all these methods, all these functionalities are specified in my class. So class does, or what class does? Class provide specification for creating objects. That means that how my object should look like, that I am going to specify it in class. For example, suppose I want to create this cap. This cap is an object. So for making this cap, I will require some structure. So I will pour some plastic in that structure and it will produce my cap. So when I create that structure, I can create n number of objects. So that means that a class can create many number of objects. Whatever the number of objects that we want, we can create from that specification, from that class. Now, in order to declare a class, suppose I want to declare a class, I will require this keyword class. I will require the keyword class. After the keyword class, I will write the name of class. So suppose student is the name of my class. So this is the syntax. What is syntax? Syntax is nothing but the grammar. It is the rule of any language. And what is the rule to specify class? First, I need to write the keyword class and then I have to write the name of class. Suppose the name of my class is teacher, then I will write class teacher. So here I have written the class student. Now in class student, I will have some attributes such as name. Each and every student has some name. Then each and every student has some roll number. Each and every student has some marks. Okay, so these are the attributes, these are the data members, and at the same time, each student has some functionality. For example, his curriculum performance, his extra performance, so these two are the functions of my class student. So whenever I have to declare any class, first I will require the keyword class, then I will have to use the name of class, then here I am going to write the data members. I have already told you what is meant by data members. Data members are nothing but the properties and these are nothing but the member functions. So these are the functions that are provided by my class student. Now after declaring the class, when I have to close the class, I will require a semicolon. So this is the body of my class and I am going to specify the body of my class, or we can say I am going to define the class in pair of curly brackets, and after which I am going to write the semicolon. So this is the syntax of class. So what is class? Class is a blueprint to create any object. So students, the third basic concept of object-oriented programming is nothing but abstraction. The third concept is nothing but abstraction. Now what is meant by abstraction? So normally we watch movies. If I want to increase the volume, what I will do? I just press the volume up button. If I want to decrease the volume, what I will do? I will just put or I will just press the volume down button. So how actually the volume is getting increased or how actually the volume is getting decreased, the internal details that I don't know or I don't want to know. That means representing the essential details, presenting the necessary details and hiding the unnecessary details is called as abstraction. So here I will write representing necessary details without including background details, background or unnecessary details, without including the background details is called abstraction. So what is abstraction? Abstraction means representing the necessary details and excluding or without including the background details. This is called as abstraction. So this is a real life example. I have given the example of TV. So now suppose I want to develop a college management system. Let's take the example of object oriented programming now. What is the concept of abstraction in object oriented programming? So suppose I want to develop one college management system. So what is the most important object of my college management system? Student. So here I have taken one class student. I have taken one class student. Now what are the different attributes or what can be the different possible properties of student? My student can have name or we can say roll number. This is the property of student. Then I can say marks. Okay. Then his address. Suppose I want to develop college management system. I will require the address. Then his phone number. Then we can say his Aadhaar ID. So these are the possible attributes. Okay. Now there are so many different attributes of student. For example, each and every student has some different type of hair color. So I can write hair color. Then his height. Then each and every student has different weights. Skin color of each and every student can be different. So the next property could be skin color. And so on. Now students, here I am going to develop the college management system. So what will be the necessary attributes? So the necessary attributes are for college management system. Name is necessary, roll number is necessary, marks is necessary, address is necessary, phone number is necessary, Aadhaar ID is necessary. But here this hair color, is it really important to develop college management system? No. Height is also not important. Weight is also not important. Skin color is not also important. That means that while developing college management system, I will only put these 6 attributes, which are those name, roll number, marks, address, phone number and Aadhaar ID. So these 6 are nothing but the essential, or these are representing the necessary. These are the necessary details. Name, roll, marks, phone number, Aadhaar ID. These are the necessary details. And hair color, weight, height, skin color, these are the details. I know that. These are the attributes. But are those attributes necessary? Those attributes are not necessary. So those attributes are background details. So these are the background details, and I am not going to put these attributes in my college management system. So in my college management system, I will put only these 6 attributes and I am going to remove other attributes. So here I have included the necessary details and I have hidden the background details. This is called as abstraction. Now the next basic concept of object oriented programming is nothing but encapsulation. So the fourth concept is nothing but encapsulation. So student, all of you must have heard this word capsule. We have heard this word capsule. It's just like this. This is a capsule. So normally whenever we have fever, cold or any disease, at that time doctor prescribes us to consume this medicine, which is nothing but capsule. So in this capsule, this is some material, there is some chemical material which is wrapped, which is enclosed in a covering. So this outer part is nothing but the covering, and this is nothing but the medicinal compound. So this compound or this material is hidden. This covering is used to hide this material from the surrounding. So why there is need of hiding? Because if this material comes in contact with the surrounding or atmosphere, then it may undergo some hazardous reaction, and those reactions are not good for our health. So that's why this material is hidden from the surrounding world. So here in capsule we are hiding this material, and in our subject, in object oriented programming, the most important thing is data. So we need to hide the data. So in order to hide the data, we use encapsulation. So what is meaning by encapsulation? Wrapping up. The definition is wrapping up of data and code into a single unit is called as encapsulation. Means suppose in our class student, in this class student, we have used some variables such as name, then roll number, then marks. So this is nothing but our data, and at the same time we have used some functions. Those functions are nothing but, suppose one function I have taken get data, the another function I have taken, suppose put data. So get data and put data, these are nothing but the functions, or we can say this is the code that is going to act on this data. So these functions are going to use the data. So in my class student, I have wrapped, I have enclosed this data and code into single unit. So wrapping up of data and code into a single unit, and which is that single unit? Class is called as encapsulation. So students, classes provide the mechanism of encapsulation. Classes provide the mechanism of encapsulation. And what is meant by encapsulation? Wrapping. Wrapping means enclosing. What we are going to enclose? We are going to enclose the data. At the same time, whatever the code or function that are operating on data, we are going to enclose both of these quantities, that is data and code, into single unit. So this is called as encapsulation. And what is the use of this data encapsulation? Data encapsulation is used to hide the data, which is the most important feature of our object-oriented programming. So the next basic concept of object-oriented programming is nothing but polymorphism. So the next concept is polymorphism. So student, this polymorphism word is a combination of two words. The first word is poly and the second word is morph. So the meaning of poly means many, and this word morph means forms. The meaning of this morph word is nothing but forms. So what is the meaning? Many forms. So students, let's take the real life example. Student, here I am teaching you. That means that I am playing a role of teacher. When I go home and discuss with my parents, there I am going to play the role of a child. When I go to any market and buy something, at that time I am playing the role of a customer. And suppose I have some business and I go over there I am playing the role of owner. So I am only one person who is playing different roles. That means ability to perform many roles or ability to take more forms is called as polymorphism. Means the person is only one, but in different situation he is taking different forms. So the definition is ability to take more than one form is called as polymorphism. So now suppose student, I have one function and the name of function is draw. Suppose I have one function and the name of function is draw. So this draw function is used to draw the shape of different objects. This draw function is used to draw the shape of different objects. So whatever the shape it is going to draw, it is going to be decided on the parameters. Now suppose if I provide only two parameters, that is starting coordinate and radius, then it is going to draw circle. Suppose I provide three parameters, then it will draw a triangle. Suppose I perform or I give four parameters, it is going to draw a rectangle, or we can say a box. So that means that the function is only one. There is only one function and the name is draw. And when I pass the parameters, two parameters, then it is going to draw a circle. When I pass three parameters, it is going to draw triangle. When I pass four parameters, it is going to draw rectangles. Means only one function, draw function, who is performing different functions or different functionalities in different situations. The only one function which is taking different forms in different situations. So here this draw function is providing the concept of this polymorphism. So it has the ability to take more than one forms. So this is nothing but polymorphism. Poly means many and morph means forms. So polymorphism means ability to take more than one forms. So students, in this way we have seen the basic concepts of object oriented programming. The first concept is object, second is class, third is abstraction, fourth is encapsulation, and fifth is polymorphism. Thank you. Thanks for watching.